Welcome to Psych 109, Chapter 2, Theories of Development. In helping us understand development, psychologists put together a concept to provide a framework to study human development with a specific approach to their theory. However, the argument with development psychologists and their theories is continuity versus discontinuity over the lifespan. This argument leads psychologists divided in how they approach developmental changes. On one side of the controversy, the belief is developmental changes take place at a slow and steady progress resulting in continuity. On the other side of the controversy is the belief that developmental changes occur in abrupt changes or stages, resulting in discontinuity. However, both of these influence development in a combination of direct and indirect effects. The first theorist we will study is Sigmund Freud and his psychoanalytical theory, explaining how Freud believed the mind worked. In his theory, he provides the framework explaining the structures of the mind empowered by the libido. The libido is energy that motivates men and women. These structures are broken down into three areas of the mind's operational capacities. The first is the id, which according to Freud is present at birth. The id is all about pleasure seeking. It is what drives newborns to use their basic instincts for survival, nurture, and love. For example, in order to get their needs met, they cry when hungry or wet. The second structure within the mind is the ego, which begins to develop at birth. The ego is the rational part of our mind, keeping us in touch with reality. The word ego Freud is referring to is a rational structure of the mind that helps us with planning and keeps us in touch with reality. Ego in Freud's description is used differently than today. Today's use of the word ego is more or less slang for the word egotistic, which is referring to a self-centered person. The third structure within the mind that Freud refers to is the superego, which develops during the infancy stage. It dictates what is right and wrong. An example of the superego is the analogy of an angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other. There is a battle between the and the superego, while the ego tries to compromise. Take a minute to review the examples cited, demonstrating all three interacting and negotiating with each other. Next, we will look at Freud's 5 stages of personality. According to Freud, the first stage is called the oral stage. This stage takes place between birth and 18 months. The goal of this stage is for an infant to explore his or her world through the experience of their mouth, while gaining an understanding of the world around them. As we all know, babies put everything in their mouth, and Freud believed that if this stage of development was not successfully accomplished, an oral fixation would develop as an adult. The second stage of personality develops through the anal stage, which is between the ages of 8 months to 3 years. The goal for a toddler is to accomplish successful toilet training. Therefore, the anus becomes the focus of reward or punishment. An example of positive reinforcement is when a child is given big boy or big girl pants for staying dry. Freud believed the consequences of bad potty training are the causes of anal retentive and anal expulsive personality traits in adults. These have an excessive need for everything or have no desire to control nothing in their environment, due to severe stress and anxiety. The phallic stage is between age 3 and 5 years old. According to Freud, in order for a child to develop sexuality and sensations of sexual pleasure, the child feels attraction to his parent. For example, this is when a little boy expresses that he wants to marry mommy, and a little girl expresses that she wants to marry daddy. In reference to the father-daughter relationship, Freud referred to this as the Electra complex, referred to the mother-son relationship as the Oedipal complex. Freud believed that particularly boys who get stuck in the phallic stage as adults express several personality traits due to the Oedipal complex. These type of men are attracted to older women and still seek the approval of their mother, and the women who remind them of their mother. For women's experiencing personality traits due to the Electra complex, they will seek the approval and affection of a daddy substitute. Latency is Freud's fourth stage of personality development, occurring between the ages of 5 and 12 years. At this stage, sex desire is dormant. Boys in this developmental stage often refer to each other as having cooties. Usually children will tend to play and have activities that involve the same gender until about the age of 10. Freud's fifth final stage, the genital stage, occurring in children 12 years and older. Hormones begin to surge and bring back the phallic stage. However, by the age children know that parental attraction is not appropriate, and they turn their attention toward peers of the opposite sex. The next theorist we will look at is Erik Erikson and his approach. According to Erikson, human life progresses through a series of 8 stages, marked by a crisis that needs to be resolved so the individual can move forward. Please take a few minutes to review the following that outlines Erikson's psychosocial theory of development. The chart is characterized according to age in the first column down, stage of development in the second column down, the Erikson's crisis experienced in the column down, the strength developed in the fourth column down, and the significant influences on development in the fifth column down. Therefore, when you read across the columns, there is a breakdown of all categories for each stage. For example, the first column is birth to 18 months. The stages in infancy, the crisis is trust versus mistrust. The strength developed is hope. And the major influence of this development, mother figure or caregiver. Please take a few minutes to review the remaining chart. An infant that experiences a warm environment learns an effect. For example, when they cry, they are held and comforted with food, a dry diaper, and affection. This is what builds an infant's trust in a predictable response to environment and the people around them. If the infant's needs are not met, the environment is experienced as not safe and mistrust develops. Early childhood experiences cause a child to desire the ability to have self-control and achievements in what they attempt to accomplish. Erikson refers to this crisis as autonomy versus shame and doubt, and the strength developed is willpower. Autonomy is experiencing some independence, yet having the safety of mom and dad being nearby physically or metaphorically speaking. For example, if a child fails a test at school, they know that at the end of the day, mom and dad are there to listen to their disappointment, help them with their feelings, and give encouragement. However, If they experience a negative reaction regarding a fail, they will experience shame, feeling like a failure with no hope of encouragement or advice to achieve a better grade next time. In the preschool years, play is experienced as a form of stress relief for the preschooler. If they are made to feel bad, they will experience guilt. The crisis is initiative versus guilt, and the strength for this stage is purpose. For example, the purpose to go to daycare and have yet experiences mommy crying every time she drops off the preschooler. They make the child feel responsible for her sadness and that mom will miss them. For guilty for enjoying their time there when mom is so unhappy is unacceptable. In order to accomplish goals in middle childhood, an emphasis on achievement will help a child not feel inferior. The strength is in competence. Encouraging a child to try and building their confidence fosters self-esteem and gives courage to try new even if they don't all succeed. Adolescence is about a teenager figuring out who they are and who they want to be, and how they want others to see them. It is about their identity. Young adulthood is striving to experience intimacy with others, the strength of love. With someone special, this can include friends or significant others. I am referring to intimacy as sharing of one's hopes and dreams. Sharing feelings that one would not share with everyone, just the few really important people in one's life. For many, the goal of intimacy is desired and reached through the relationship of marriage and family. For those who struggle to achieve intimacy with others, find themselves isolated and alone. They also often are referred to as the loner type of people that we all know. In middle adulthood, the goal is to stay productive and creative. As people experience middle adulthood, they should develop a strong sense of wanting to give back to society. This crisis in this stage is generativity versus stagnation. Developed strength is late adulthood or old age is a time when adults look back on their lives and conclude if they are happy with the way they live their life. They have regrets for choices they made or did not make. They may feel they didn't accomplish everything they could have, and they should have spent more time with those most important to them. Therefore, the crisis is integrity versus despair. Strength developed